Welcome to Change the Narrative. I am your host, Kim Fuller.
I'm Clinton Fuller, Lamb.
And it is great to be back, Clinton.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful holidays. I want to say a shout out to everyone that's been enjoying their Christmas, spending time with their family members and, open up all these presents and, with all the jolly stuff. Hopefully everybody get what they wanted for Christmas. And we're looking forward for the new year.
That's right. It's the end of the decade, right?
End of the decade. But can you believe it's been a full 30 days, 9 episodes in since we've started.
9 episodes of Change the
Narrative. And the reception has been great.
So great.
Yes.
Been having fun.
Been having a lot of fun. And I like, again, the people has been great overall, man. So much love to the people who have been tuning in and supporting us for the longest.
For sure.
But we also want to just clean house. Again, we are available.
Usual.
Yeah, the usual stuff. I mean, we are on all the podcast and networks, platforms, Spotify, right. YouTube, iTunes, you know the drill. So check us out.
Check us out.
And what's been going on with you, man?
Well, just enjoying the holidays.
Enjoying the holidays.
One of my favorite time of the year,
Yeah, one of my favorite time of the year too, man.
Yeah.
But, since it's been officially more than 30 days since we've been doing the the Change the Narrative podcast, I just want to recap because, it's coming to the end of the year.
All right, so let's do this week instead of talking about one specific incident or so that happened in Belize. Let's talk about the last 30 days since we've been doing it. What are some of the highlights that you can think of that came out of Belize that caught your attention? Headlines.
Well, headlines. Few things caught my attention. The accidents and, that stuff has been crazy. The
roadways.
The roadways. Okay, the accidents, period. There's been a lot of accidents. Yeah, we've
had a few of those indeed.
And, I wish in 2020 that's, the country could come together to try to deal with that issue, definitely. The kidnapping and the killings.
Yeah.
And people being missing and people dying, finding dead bodies. That's definitely been something that's been, horrifying and also scary for me because,
sure.
Again, we all have family members
that's right.
down there. And, it's very scary in that matter. But the three stories in the last 30 days that just, to me, has been just ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous with a capital R, has been, for me, to start out with. The first one has been that gentleman who was hired to fix Swing Bridge, one of the oldest, traditional manual-owned swing bridge. And what was so funny and sad at the same time about that story was this gentleman know nothing about no bridge, has anything to do with any kind of engineering degree in fixing bridges.
Right.
But yet he's just there wandering around and having his guys just patching up stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then saying that you don't need to be certified or anything to do it. I remember him saying that.
You know what's so crazy about that, man? He's not even putting in perspective that, if this bridge collapsed, and by the way, bridges do collapse.
Yeah.
All the time. If this bridge do collapse, it's not a game or a joke. It will cripple the economy in Belize. Right. You know what I mean?
But who do you blame for that? Is that on the guy fixing the bridge, or
no,
is that on
not.
the ones who hired the guy to fix the bridge?
Exactly. There's no way that guy should even be there.
That's right.
The second story is with my man that I grew up. This dude grew up in my area. My man Yellow. He didn't show off the Yellow Man. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's my man. Yeah, we grew up in the same area, man. I knew that kid. I knew him since he was a little boy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But the mere fact that he's a national story for being fired tells you a whole lot.
Now, when I was in
this
Belize,
man didn't even show up at his job for like a week. He didn't show up at his job for a week. Got fired, which would happen to any regular person or any normal working person. You just cannot show up at your job and then show up and then act like.
And then he went on the news complaining he got fired. Right?
And that's a story. That became a national story.
Yeah. Again.
And again. By the way, all these stories I am saying have one thing in common.
And that one thing in common
Not
is
even
our
one, it's two
topic
things.
today.
And that one thing in common, or those things in common, ties into our topic
But
that we're talking about today.
The last one, which was the
last
big
one.
news in Belize over the past week.
I think the last one to me was
The most ridiculous.
Because not only that we had our last season, episode 6 was about this topic about domestic violence and so on and so forth. And to watch this minister and his lawyer, because the lawyer was just as funny, to go out there and to say the stuff that they said on national TV. I mean, this is the audacity of this guy to go out there and to pretty much read his entire resume to the country. Oh, by the way, I was at the UN when I was getting robbed. What you and the UN got to do with this domestic violence case?
Yeah, he wanted to spin it on the media.
You know what I'm saying? And the funny part, the kid might be his grandchild, and he's acting like this is like some stranger. You know what I'm saying?
It was disheartening to watch that entire
episode
scenario go down.
Yeah, it was a joke.
Everything about it was just like, wow.
It's a joke. Then the icing on the cake, at the very end of that whole little scenario, he turned to the cameraman and the reporter and said, "Don't edit me. Do not edit me."
Yeah, he thought that what he said needed to be heard. In his
mind that this is how it is. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, all these stories have the same things in common.
And then to follow that, we had the situation with the minister's son. Oh, yeah,
the minister's son talking reckless.
Audaciously.
Like, just reckless about
crazy crap.
First of all,
social media.
That man's wife has nothing to do with the situation at hand. If you got a problem with a person, you deal with that person. Why are you bringing in other family members, man? And for him to go on social media, and by the way, he's working for the government.
I wonder how that happened.
And for him to go and say that, it just tells me we need to have a conversation.
So let's have the conversation.
What is really going on in Belize.
All right. So this episode 9, we're going to be talking about nepotism and cronyism in Belize.
Nepotism and cronyism. And all three of these stories that I just mentioned, the story with the guy on the bridge, Yellow Man's story, and Minister Holtz and his kid, is all tied in to what we are trying to say in regards to nepotism. All right, so let's start with nepotism and cronyism. Let's start with nepotism.
Okay.
So, do you understand what nepotism is?
Yeah. Right? So, just to educate for those who don't know, nepotism and cronyism are forms of favoritism.
Right.
Nepotism is when you hire a family member to do a job, regardless of their qualification, whether or not they're fit to do that particular job. That's not even taken into account. You just hire someone because they are your kin.
That's right.
Family member.
And cronyism,
that's hiring your
friend, a corporate person, or
someone who has done something for you that you're doing back something for them.
A favor to a favor.
Correct. And again, these people, maybe as incompetent as they come, have no qualifications for the specific job that they're being hired for. Right. They're being hired simply because of the fact that there's an acquaintance or some type of connection, politically affiliated or otherwise.
Right, definitely.
Right. So yes,
I want to stress too. And I want to stress. So nepotism is not a problem. Okay, nepotism is not a problem if you are a private entity. So if you have your private store, business, mom and pop, whatever you want to call it,
it could be good actually. Passing down your family tradition.
You want to install nepotism in that form of a platform, you're free to do it. I encourage you to do it because that's your private entity.
Correct. That's
Boy,
your family name living on it.
exactly. And
The difference is
we all should try to strive towards that.
right.
But the problem is whenever you're using public funds,
That's
all right,
right. That's
and
when it gets tricky.
trying to use nepotism as a way to get things moving forward. That's a definitely no-no. And like I told you off the air, that I feel like cronyism and nepotism are like cancer to a democracy.
Right.
You understand? It's a cancer to democracy. And that's the problem we have here in the States too, with Donald Trump as president.
Mm-hmm.
With him and his family members are getting rich. They're going all over the world. Pretty much selling out the country.
Right.
And they could care less about the regular, Joes who are working every day, paying taxes to, keep this country running.
Right. And basically just putting his kids and his family members into positions that they have
no qualification.
Yeah, and the incompetence is evident. It's also very unethical.
Very unethical.
It's unfair.
And again, we don't want to spend so much time in what's going on here, but in regards to our country, one of the biggest misconception and a myth that we need to debunk also while we're talking about this topic is the idea that Belize is a poor country. And again, I'm saying this because it's all tied together. And hear me out.
All right, make the link for us.
I'll make the link. Belize is not a poor country in any state or form.
Okay.
At all. That's one of the biggest myths that has been told to a lot of us, that we're a poor country. We're a country of 360,000 people. We have twice the land of Jamaica, which has over 2 million people on that island.
Sorry.
We have enough food to support every single person for another 100 years plus. Okay? We have some
homegrown food?
Homegrown food. We have some of the most prestigious beaches, second largest barrier reef.
Tourism.
Okay. No, hold up. We have some of the most pristine forests.
Yes.
We have rivers, drinking water running through our country. We have sunlight. Because, again, productivity in the economy drops when there's snow and all that stuff.
Correct.
Our country is 365 years straight sunlight, meaning that we have ways to keep productivity high, which will sustain your economy and growth for the economy.
Gotcha, yeah.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have all this going on for ourselves. But we are told by the people who are benefiting from this idea that we are poor. We're not poor. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, I even push it even farther. I would say at least 60% of the people in Belize who think they are poor, who actually believe they are poor, they're not poor.
Well, I think you need to go a little deeper in that, because you're saying that, but if I'm a Belizean who's living paycheck to paycheck,
that's not
every
poor.
day. All right, so define poor.
So again, and I'll tie this right back to nepotism and cronyism.
Sure.
So the Belizeans who say they are poor, they eat 3 meals a day, right?
I would think so, yeah.
No, no.
Yeah.
Stop being seriously. They eat 3 meals a day.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They got a roof over their head, right?
Yes.
They got clothes in their back, right?
Yes.
They got running water?
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that poor?
It's broke.
Thank you. And I think that's the difference.
So, yeah.
People need to understand the difference between being poor and being broke. Being poor means you don't have a means. Like people who are poor in real poor countries don't have running water. Sanitation is nowhere to be found. No electricity. None of this stuff. The people that you say are poor have all of this stuff and eating 3 squares a day, have enough calories to put in their bodies to sustain their life. Right or wrong?
Right.
All right. Now the real question is, they're broke.
Yes.
But why are they broke?
They're not making enough money?
Okay, and that ties right back into what I'm saying. The reason why I feel like they're broke is because has nothing to do with the country being poor, the country being, and then this nonsense they're pushing. The problem is we're being mismanaged
from the top
down.
Gotcha.
And the reason why, the mismanagement.
Starting to see the connection.
Yeah, exactly. The mismanagement is primarily because of nepotism and cronyism.
So we're putting people into positions they don't know what they're doing.
Most of the critical functions of the government, in order for the government to work for the people, okay, are filled with people at these positions who are highly incompetent, and are only playing this role at that job because of nepotism and cronyism.
Correct. Some type of affiliation with somebody. They got a job that they don't know what to do.
Pretty much.
And it's a cycle now.
It's a cycle. And I give a perfect example how this will affect the people coming next year, because we know next year there is an election in Belize.
And that's presuming that we change.
Assuming that we change government. So correct. Assuming that we change government, because again, let's put it out there. I've never voted in Belize for any one of these people.
Not politically affiliated.
So,
not at all.
I'm not politically affiliated with none of these guys. So I don't like none of them.
Right. But for the sake of the conversation, you're saying if we happen to have a change in government
happen to have a change in government for whatever reason, if the people choose so. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm not going to predict it, but let's say this hypothetically.
Correct.
This is what we at. So if we have a change of government, okay, you know what's going to happen?
They're going to take up the incompetent people now and put in more incompetent people who are now their friends.
Exactly.
Rather than going out there and find people
they won't
who
even
can
sit
actually
down. They
do
won't
the
even
jobs.
sit down. They won't even sit down and ask the people who are working right now for the government, or trying to find out if these people are capable or competent or have the skill level to perform this job. Mm-hmm. They will automatically clean house.
Yeah.
Automatically. It's coming.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you're going to see a whole new crew of incompetent people coming in to do the same thing or even worse.
Right. Which is why we're always in this never-ending
and this is a cycle. This is a cycle we've been living under for the last 30 years. And they trick us and tell us, well, it's us the people who are not smart enough.
We're a country
us
just
the people
poor. We're a developing country.
We are a developing country. Do you realize that under these people, so-called leadership, we talked about this somewhat in the last episode about marijuana, just trying to find solutions to help boost the economy, because that's what we're trying to do. We want to get out of the situation. But we talked about the mere fact that our national debt is about $4 billion Belize dollars, $2 billion American dollars. And our total GDP, as far as our total production as a country, is only $2 billion.
Right.
And I'll tell you this, people, that is not right. And that shouldn't be the case. Not with the landmass and all the like I said, all the beaches, the tourism, the natural resources, like all the different avenues we have to make money, to sit there and have people believe, and people believe this, that $2 billion is okay for that size of country. It's ludicrous. It's crazy. But because of the incompetence and the mismanagement that's been going on, and not only that, it's been going on for a long time, guess what? A lot of people are getting into politics to continue the mismanagement.
Because, and that's sad, because there's a opinion that the only way to make it these days is to become a politician in Belize. And that's right? Sad. And that is sad. So and again, they're banking on this like it's who you know. Right. That will get you. And we've heard that. We've had friends who we know have no kind of
qualification, nothing.
Not even interest.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, I'm going to become a minister. I mean, I'm going to go run for city council or something because they're the people. That's the only way to get money these days in Belize. Don't you see? Right. And then us as Belizeans, we look up to these political people.
And you know what? That's the kicker about it. Not only that we look up to them, but these same guys who, again, has doubled our GDP in debt, are now patting themselves on the back and acting like they're doing such a great job.
And acting like they're above the other people.
We
saw that in Mr. Hulse's performance that day on TV,
His performance is antithetical to what we're trying to explain. This is exactly, that's all I want to ask Mr. Hulse. Where do you get that cologne, that new cologne that he was wearing? You know the name of that cologne? Arrogance. Where you find that at? Because I need a 12 fluid ounce of that.
Yeah.
Because the arrogance that you have to have to actually look in front of a camera and say the things that man said. I have no regrets about it.
And it's spilled right down, because look at the arrogance of the other minister's son who wrote what he wrote on social media.
It's just the arrogance is just.
And what have you done to qualify for whatever position you have? And this is,
I mean, at the end of the day, as changing narrative, people want to say, okay, we're complaining about this, but this has been our Achilles heel since we became an independent country. And we're saying it's time for it to stop.
That's right.
And again, here how it can stop, and here how we can get out of the situation. The first thing we got to do, people, is to try and grow ourselves out of this debt. And the only way we can grow ourselves out of the debt is to get rid of these people.
Which ones? Maybe can you switch parties?
We need to have each district, or each, I think I don't got district, but each constituent, I will beg, they need to have a huge independent group of people.
Okay.
That can determine who will win an election. Once we have in each constituency a group of people who are open-minded, independent-minded, who are not swayed or is convinced by any of these guys until some of these changes are implemented, I think that in itself will change the trajectory of how these guys are acting. Because, again, these guys feed off ignorance. You know what I mean? They feed off when you and I are arguing about their political, side, the partisanship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But once you have an independent thinker in that mix that can see they're both BSing you.
So, say your proposal one more time.
The first proposal that I would say is to have an independent group of people in every, I don't want to say district, but every, I don't know what they call it in Belize, voting area or whatever.
And they do what?
And they could either vote with these people or vote for a third party. You understand what I'm saying? You don't have to vote the two major political parties. And if you have enough independent people, you can vote them out.
Okay, so because you're saying
the independents can control which direction the country will go.
So we need a third party that is a basically independent party. No political official, just here for the people.
Here for the people.
And
here
we
for
need
the people's
to vote
business.
In a independent party and get rid of the
you don't have to vote for
parties?
independent. You don't have to vote for the independent party, so to speak. My thing is that if you're going to choose either one of these parties, or you have to be independent minded. So if you know this man is BSing you on this side, this man is BSing you on that side, then you vote for the guy that, the third guy. If this guy is willing to work with you and you see this guy on this side of the pendulum is willing to work for you and doing the things for the country, and he's not corrupt in that type of way, then you vote for that guy. So I'm not telling you who to vote for. Yeah. All I'm saying is put somebody in power that will put the interests of the country first.
Regardless of whatever party.
Regardless of whatever party or whatever.
So you need strong-minded people who are not...
They're too partisan.
who are not out to put money in their pockets.
Exactly.
Right? Who's actually have the right mentality that you should have.
Right.
Which is for the people.
For
to
the people.
Better the country, better
country.
your people. Okay.
And again, if these group of people I'm talking about are forcing, like, put this on the ballot, this ethics, You cannot hire your friends. You cannot hire your family members in certain places. The people you put in, because these positions are vital to the growth of the country.
That's right.
And these positions are not filled with people who are competent. Then we as a society are losing.
As we have been for the last 40 years.
30 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the first thing I would suggest that we do. It's to make sure we have a group, a large group of people who are independent minded. Because again, these people are striving off ignorance, and they're striving again. They'll come throw you a little dollar here and there, and the next 4 or 5 years, like they say in Belize, you get that bokut. You know what I'm saying? Straight up.
That's right.
Straight up. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first thing, and the second thing. Get rid of all these dinosaurs in politics.
Good old boys?
All the good old boys.
Yeah.
All the guys that's been, if you've been in politics for over 20 years, you got to go, man. These guys, literally, like seriously, they made politics a career.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Because they're getting money. They're filling their pockets. Who want to walk away from that?
I don't understand how the people of Belize don't understand, like, yo, they made politics a career.
Yeah.
Like a doctor or a lawyer. And some of these guys are lawyers. I don't get it.
That's where the money's at, Clint.
We need to get rid of any one of these guys on either party who's been in politics for more than 20 years. They need to go. Because the only thing they know is what they've been doing.
That's right.
They have no fresh ideas. None.
And in terms of the change that you are calling for or that is needed, they're not
interested in that.
They're not interested in
the only thing they're interested in is to be reelected and to hold on to power.
That's right.
So any one of these dinosaurs that's in politics, they need to take a hike. We need fresh new blood. People with fresh ideas that will set up to this new gig economy. I'm baffled that we're in a gig economy and we're still fighting analog problems. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
We're still fighting yesterday's problems when we haven't dealt with tomorrow's issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the second thing. It's to get rid of these guys, man, because they have zero value. And that's what people don't understand also. These politicians have zero value. And they're given a platform, the keys to manage the country. They're not creating any jobs. They're not, saving any lives with cancer. And you know what I'm saying? They're not putting a product on the street that will benefit the people of Belize or the country. They're simply given the reins to manage the country, and they're mismanaging the country.
And you know what another thing is? You find that even the young blood that's coming in are same relatives to the good old boys.
Good old boys.
It's the same names that you hear over and over.
And this is
like that got to stop too.
And that's what I'm trying to tell you. You need to get rid of all these people and try something different, like straight up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to me, the third and final thing, and this needs to happen with all of us. We need to stop the partisanship. We need to start seeing ourselves as one people.
Rather than seeing red or blue.
This is not a red or blue or green or whatever. We are one people. And again, the joke is on us at this point. Because while we bickering at each other, they win.
Yeah.
You understand? And they're the ones that are, making all the money.
And we're the ones who need to change the narrative on that. When we go to the poll, it's not about red. It's not about blue. It's not about the one that put a load of sun in your yard 2 days before election.
Right.
It's like open your eyes and think for yourself.
Exactly. Or pay a kid's school fee just because election is coming around.
Right.
Or give you a little $10, $50, or $100 just to, man.
That we got to think bigger than us. See, again,
Right.
It comes right back. I think we talked about that in a previous episode as well, where we're all about us. I talk about it in my blog.
No.
Right? Where it's just everybody think about themselves.
Rather than the
the whole picture.
That's the thing. Once you're struggling, you can't really because you're so behind.
Yeah.
And these guys are. I'm trying to tell you, these guys have mismanaged our countries to the point where the people are feeling like this is the only way for them to move forward or to move in a in an upright position is to depend on these guys.
Right.
And that's exactly what these guys want.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to feel like you're dependent on them, that your entire life is is based on what they can do for you.
Yeah.
And once you have that mentality, you're done.
Right.
We need to stop the partisan and the bickering with each other and see how we can come together as one people and talk to people who are not have different belief than you. You know what I mean? Like you just have to stop on the larger scale.
That's where it starts, and you have to put yourself in a position where we can see changes.
That's right.
We start with that, and then gradually you're going to start to see changes. Now, we might actually have some money in our pocketbooks,
right?
And find
and start
ourselves,
to pool our money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Getting out of the...
A lot of people keep saying, well, yo, you do this and you do that, blah blah blah. You're here, you gotta deal with the problems. No, buddy. All I'm saying to you is that, bro, like there's ways we can work this out simply by, if, for example, if we want to get something done, let's work together as a group, pool our money together, start a business. You know what I mean? If the business is at a different level, branch off and you do your thing, you know what I mean? And we all can be beneficial in that type of way. But starting to work as a group, you know what I mean? It has to start from the grassroots because up top, again, the only concern they have is to keep the status quo.
That's right.
And the status quo has not worked for 35 years, 30 years.
The world is looking right now and laughing at America.
Right.
Because of these same exact
issues,
problems. And we're a small country. Like, we cannot continue to go down the same path.
And again, people, like, we're not poor. You know what I mean? We're not a poor country. We are capable of doing every single thing that people are doing in other countries. But we're not given the right opportunities to do it. So let's strive towards that.
Change the narrative.
Change the narrative on that for sure.
All right. That's our episode.
That's it, man.
All right. So everyone, we definitely want to wish everyone a happy new year. I don't think we're going to be back before the new year. You never know. But
we know.
But 2020,
here it comes.
Here it comes. Let's get ready for it. And let's make some changes in 2020, man. It's up to us.
Okay.
All right. Be empowered. This is our time. We do it our way. Change the narrative. This is Kim signing off.
Peace.